Hello guys, it's Spaniard here. I am making a video about Apophis, the asteroid that is going to come real close to Earth in 2029. Here I have the NASA website. It's stating that the Earth is safe from this asteroid for over 100 plus years. So they're denoting that it's not going to hit. I'm not going to I'm not going to read the whole thing. But I'm just gonna highlight some of the stuff that I've been reading up till now. It's an 1,100 foot meteor. So this might have. These things usually break down as they get closer to the sun. So it's 1,100 feet. Less on another website, I think it was Wikipedia, it said 1,200, but no, it's 1,100 according to NASA. So NASA says it's going to come at the closest 20,000 miles from the planet's surface. Now, as it says here, it's closer than some geosynchronous satellites. So there's satellites out there that are farther away than 20,000 miles. Now, I've been reading up on this. I'm gonna also talk about, while I'm at it, I'm gonna talk about another asteroid that's coming later down the road, many more years down the road, but I'll get to that in a moment. Now, I'm gonna swap from this site to Wikipedia. They've been actually updating the data, so 2029 is its closest approach. Now, here's a table, and here's the 2029 distance. Normally, you see stuff that comes 1 AU or 1.8 or 2 AU away from the Earth, but this is going to be 0.0002 AU, which is roughly 30,000 kilometers, which equals to about 20,000 miles. In the realm of space and the universe, that's like a hair's length away, if you think about it. I don't think that the Earth's gravity will come into play. They're not mentioning that it will here, so they're emphasizing that it's going to miss. Besides that, they do have backup plans, contingencies to prevent an impact, and I'll get into that. But they're making it seem like either the gravity from Earth or the Moon will come into play. Now, these are the models here. In 2029, this is the Moon here. This is Apophis. So gravity from Earth will come into play because it's going to curve it as it swings past, but it's going to curve it. Whoa, that's actually... Did you see? Okay. Yeah, so that's the gap. That's actually not a big gap, but I just noticed the Moon thing. And it looks like it might come closer to the Moon than to Earth. That's gonna be interesting. Oh, that opens up a whole new dialogue now, doesn't it? Alright, anyway, let's just focus on Earth for right now. Now this might be a longer video than I thought. Okay. 2036, all the years after that doesn't seem like it's gonna be that big of a deal. But 2029 seems to be the closest approach. Now they do have the contingencies. They have the planned Chinese mission to send a probe out there to get some samples from the surface. China's sending theirs first. It looks like this year. They're sending one this year, and it's gonna be sent. So I'm gonna get into this more because like China is focusing on Apophis, but I think this Osiris Rex is the U.S. Let me see here. It's a NASA probe. So this guy is focusing on Bennu. This is the other asteroid that I want to talk about after here. So Osiris Rex was actually sent to Bennu, and China's going to be in charge of Apophis. Now, these are the deflection strategies. The deflection strategies are gravitational tractors, kinetic impact, and nuclear bomb methods. This one mentions Xinhua is mentioning solar sail, using an impactor spacecraft in a retrograde orbit steered and powered by a solar sail instead of moving the asteroid on its potential resonant return to Earth. This one sounds interesting. The gravitational keyhole in the first place. They're going to try to shift it away from the keyhole, which is interesting. The weak part of it is probably the sail, but like who knows? What do I know? I don't know anything. Russian ICBMs, yeah. Well, yeah. So Osiris Rex, they focused on Bennu. Bennu seems to have less of a chance of hitting Earth than Apophis does. Now, I read also that Osiris Rex will, on its return from Bennu, might land on Apophis after it passes the Earth to collect a sample from Apophis, but seems like China might focus on that more. So Bennu is an interesting one, though. All right, where was I leading off with here? So 20,000 miles away is really close. This is the hypothetical risk corridor for April 2029, April 13th, 2029. So this is the possible path. It can possibly land anywhere on here. This is pretty much the old world here. It can start off at the earliest point, Canada, or at the farthest point, the Pacific Ocean. But in this path, it's Europe, west and east, the Levant, India, Asia. The Arctic Ocean, perhaps. I think this is either North Atlantic or Arctic at this point. Now it's very interesting. But at least they give you an idea if something happens. But it's I'm keeping positive. Now, I found this interesting little website where it lets you draw a circle. And I was doing the math, like 1200. It was the impact 50 times one bomb of the whatever it was. But I was doing the math, and it's one of those bombs does 25-yard radius of damage. It was saying kilowatts. The kilowatts on this thing, or the equivalent damage that it might do. Where was it? Here it is. So it's a 1200 footer. 1200 it would be 1200 megatons of TNT. The one that killed the dinosaurs was 100 million megatons worth of power. So this isn't gonna be a world ender. If it hits. Now it's mentioning it was mentioning here, this is the 2036 path of risk, which has been, disillusioned. Like it seems like it's not going to be a worry anymore. It seems like it's not going to be a worry anymore. Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Colombia, the South American, they were afraid that it was going to land around South America or Atlantic before hitting Africa. That would probably generate a wave. It says it here. But this is an expired risk. So it seems like it's not going to happen. Now, so it was worth of note though, for sure. Real worth it. I was reading, what was I reading? The megatons. 1200 megatons. What was my math logic here? One of those Russian bombs does 25-mile radius. That's 50 megatons. 1200 divided by 50 equals 24. One bomb is 50 megatons. That's one of the strongest bombs in the world, right? So 1200 divided by 50. No, that's wrong. Well, let me see if I can explain the math here. I got this number 1600 mile radius. I'm trying to remember how I got to this. I drew this circle 1600 miles in diameter by using the bomb's power, because it was mentioning in the article 50 times that of one of those bombs. So it was 1600. I think I got that number because it was 25-mile radius that one of those bombs does damage to. So since it was 50 times that, it equals to 1600 miles in diameter. So 1600 divided by 25. Okay. Yeah, so the 1600 diameter was using the 25 per 1 bomb mile radius of damage. So I did that. I multiplied it to get the 1600. The 64 was sorry, I'm lost for thought. The 64 number was from the number of times the bomb is equivalent to. I think that's what it was. Anyway, so I was comparing it to the size of the comet or the megatons. It mentioned 1200 megatons of damage that the comet would, or the asteroid would do if it hit. So 1200 I forgot what it was, sorry. But I did 50 times that times 25 equals the size of it. I don't know. Anyway, but I got with this number, and this is the, I just put it over the ocean as an example. So that would be, you know, possibly making a big wave, but obviously the asteroid would break up the Earth, or you know, on its way into the Earth, it would break up the asteroid. So it might end up being smaller than what it's gonna, you know, if it does hit. But what's scarier will probably be, I'm thinking like if it does hit and it hits the ocean, it'll make a wave, but people might have a chance if they get into the mountains and stuff or whatever. It's kind of like Deep Impact movie. What's scarier will probably be if it actually hits land. That'll probably be scarier. I don't know why the circle is getting bigger. That's more realistic. I'm considering the path that I saw in Wikipedia. That's why I'm drawing it around, putting it around here. Anyway, let's think on the positive here. Let's do so it's saying it's going to be more approaches from this one. But now that I'm thinking about it, this actually brings a red flag to my eye. Right here. What would be the effects of the moon being taken out by this thing? Considering that the moon controls the tides, what would that mean? I mean, we need the sun for photosynthesis, but the moon does stuff too, not just control the tides, right? Because the moon has points where it's closer to the Earth and farther away from the Earth. I'm sure it plays a role in global warming in some way, right? And the gravity, the moon's gravity probably does something that not a lot of us know about. So seeing this model here is like, ooh. Because there's a gap here between the Earth, but then this is like shaving off the moon here a little bit. A very close shave to the moon. I'm just noticing that now. Alright, let's get into the mythology aspect of it now. For kind of like, you know, human purposes or not, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a reason they called it after a deity of destruction, right? I mean, there's, you know, Apophis. Apep or Apophis was the ancient Egyptian deity who embodied chaos. He appears in art as a giant serpent. And Ra was his opposition. Serpent from the Nile or evil dragon? Well, there you go. Battle with Ra. As you can see, he's not good. Which brings me to Bennu. Pretty much that's probably it for Apophis for now. Let me see here. Where's Bennu here? Bennu. Bennu looks like an eyeball. Look at that thing. Isn't that pretty? Alright, so Bennu. Carbonaceous. Now, this one's set to come close in 2060, but not that close. This one's going to be way farther than Apophis. What is Bennu? In the same Egyptian mythology, Bennu is an ancient Egyptian deity linked with the sun, creation, and rebirth. It's thought of as the phoenix of legends, developed in Greek mythology. It's been associated with Osiris. Funny enough, Osiris Rex is the name of the probe that they sent to it to retrieve some samples. What is Bennu made of? It's carbonaceous, made of carbon. Bennu is set, or the probability of hitting Earth, Bennu hitting Earth is pretty much not that much. It's more likely to hit the sun. So it says it around here. Where is it? 48% chance. Yeah, here. Long term. Bennu has a 48% chance of falling into the sun. This one seems more interesting to me, and I'll explain why. Bennu is carbonaceous. It means it's carbon. Now, the scary thing about carbon is if it's hydrocarbon is very flammable and explosive, right? Now, the record shows that no known asteroid has, quote-unquote, ever fallen into the sun. Because according to science, it says that if it goes towards the sun at an angle, it's just going to go around it, almost be repelled by the sun. The asteroid would have to go like a fastball right into the sun, straight shot into the sun, for it to actually fall into the sun. So, hypothetical, if it does go into the sun, what's going to happen? If it doesn't get disintegrated. What would happen? Would it create a solar flare? Now, I was reading on this thoroughly. I read that it would have to take a planet-sized object to advance the sun from going into a red giant further, or age it faster, to the point of supernova or whatever, red giant supernova, whatever, to make it grow or explode. It would have to take size of Venus or Uranus, for example, whatever, to do damage to it. But since it's only a 1,300 footer, Bennu is what? Bennu might be bigger. I don't know. How big is Bennu? 1,600 feet, so it's a little bit bigger than Apophis. Okay, so 1,600 feet. It's gonna, where was it? It's gonna go into the sun. What would it do? It's not gonna make the sun go supernova, but I think it might make a solar flare. Now, whether the solar flare that it might generate reaches the Earth, that's the question that I have in my mind. Because it's here. Probabilities are here. There's a 10% probability that it'll go. Okay. It's more likely to hit Venus, funny enough. Only 10% chance of hitting Earth. Well, I mean, 10% is like something. More likely to go into Venus or the Sun over Earth. Earth is only 10% chance. Oh. I mean, it's saying that by the time the 2060 and 2135 approaches. Now, Apophis is 0.0002 AU, which is 20,000 miles from the Earth. This one is way bigger, so it's going to be 460,000. That's farther away than the moon. So it's twice the distance from the Earth to the moon. So it's going to be fine in 2060, right? Now, this apparently is the model, which is weird. But this one doesn't show the moon. People don't give the moon credit here, man. This one also doesn't show the moon, which is wild. People do not give credit to the moon and what the moon's gravity can do. Yeah, this one doesn't account for the moon. Alright, well, you guys see where I'm going with this. But it's saying it's not gonna hit. But you know. Anyway, I'm gonna think positive. No. So you got 48% chance of falling into the sun, 10% chance of hitting the Earth. Now, is this percentage accounting for the moon? At the very least, we've gotten samples from those Osiris-Rex. We haven't gotten those samples back, so we don't know if it's more hydrocarbon than carbon. Let's see. Well, it says evidence of hydrogen minerals. Liquid water was present in the parent body before it split off. So it might be very hydrocarbon. But again, the heat from the sun, it's gotta blow it up before it reaches the sun, right? It's just gotta. So assuming that before it hits the sun, it might be fine. Now, I guess the key thing of determining whether it'll be strong enough to hit the sun or the earth is, before the heat's rays get to it, is the composition of the asteroid. Now, hydro denotes that the sun might dry it up because it's got liquid or ice in it, or whatever. That's what I'm assuming. I'm not a scientist, but it's very interesting stuff. So, and it's funny because I've been making dragon and phoenix cracks for a while now, like how the moon is involved, and it's like, whoa, man, it's all coming. So it just makes it all good. But I think it's gonna be fine, because science has come a long way. We can always nuke it. Hoping the pieces don't messes up too much, but I think it's gonna be alright. For all we know, these things are probably shot out of the sky already. Maybe the Osiris Rex pulled an Armageddon and did a drilling and planted a nuke in it, and maybe it's already blown up. Or maybe the probe thrusted it to the side enough to change the trajectory with its thrusters. Like, you never know, man. You never know. Like, maybe they can build a big enough craft that might change the trajectory of a 60,000 mile an hour fastball that's headed toward us. I don't know, man. You don't know unless you try, right? So that's why I was thinking that solar deflection method, like solar sail, impactor spacecraft in a retrograde orbit, steered and powered by a solar sail instead of moving the asteroid on its potential resonant return to Earth, shifting the asteroid, shifting it slightly from entering the gravitational keyhole in the first place. This is with Apophis, but maybe the same method can be done with Bennu. But hopefully that sail will be strong enough and not break apart. I don't even know how that solar sail thing works, but it sounds interesting enough. Alright, so Bennu. Bennu is the phoenix, the sun. Very interesting. But I think we're gonna be alright, man. But it makes you wonder, man. It makes you wonder these things that are coming close, like, and the space race, and like all these rocket companies showing up, and makes you wonder. They're even building a space hotel out there in space. It's like, whoa. As for me, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull a Woody Harrelson. I'm gonna go to the top, the highest mountain.
Blizzard meal, and Tim Anderson with his DQ Bacon 2-Cheese Deluxe Burger and
Oh,
Blizzard
man.
Meal.
Kidding?
Cheesy. Try both and vote for your favorite burger and Blizzard meal at DQ.com.
DQ, happy tastes good.
I'm gonna be this guy. Well, this is a volcano. Don't even get me started about volcanoes. Alright, let's change the channel now. That wasn't even the one I wanted to talk about. You guys get the idea. But I think we're gonna be golden, man. Honestly. It's gonna be fine. Ancient Egyptian mythological bird. Look at how beautiful that eyeball looks. So I'm just throwing some ideas out there. The one that's cutting it close is Apophis, because after it passes Earth, it's gonna come even closer to the moon, it seems, but the moon will be it'll be going on the backside of the moon as the moon is moving forward. But the moon's gravity will affect its, like, it's gonna curve, right? It's gonna change its trajectory for the future. Now it's mentioning 2036. And that was talking about the impact probability was disillusioned or whatever. And it'll be farther away. You know, the moon counts for some. Anyway. Yeah, Bennu, I don't know why, but Bennu seems more interesting to me, man. I don't know why. It makes like, you think of dragons as being fearsome, and they are. But phoenixes come back from the dead. Yeah. Phoenixes come back from the dead, you know. Alright, well. Whew. But it is interesting. Man, I've already thought of, like, ways to survive this. I'm not a millionaire, so I'm not gonna be able to afford a rocket ship out of here. So I already started thinking ahead, man. But it's saying it's only 10% chance of hitting an Earth. Bennu is more likely to fall into the sun. The chances of surviving it before it gets to the sun's surface are slim, but again, I'm not 100% sure how the composition of hydrocarbons works with survivability as closer as it gets, you know, the closer it gets to the sun. But I assume that if it survives and it is a direct hit and doesn't curve off, then it's going to generate a solar flare, man. Of question is, if it happens, will the solar flare reach the Earth? So these two are definitely worth keeping track of. And NASA named them like that for a reason. But yeah, man. I mean, it's been taken down the Torino scale. Practically giving the moon a pat on the butt. Anyway, this Bennu thing, though, what is going on here, man? What is it doing, man? The rotation of that thing is outrageous. Even so, they managed to land Osiris on there. Oh, I forgot about this. Apparently, it's an active asteroid, and it emits plumes, but it retains its solid shape. So that's why I'm thinking, what if it survives and goes right into the sun? Plume action. The way they explain it. Thermal fracturing, volatile release through dehydration of phyllosilicates, pockets of subsurface water. Oh man. So under this hard surface there's water, so it might be way more hydrocarbon than we think. And or meteorite impacts. Meteorite impacts. Yeah, 2029 is going to be awesome. All right. Pretty cool looking. Almost kind of looks like the moon, don't it? They even named all the grooves and crevices of this thing after mythological creatures and beings. Kind of like that. Pretty cool. Alright, that's 43-minute mark. Apophis. No, this is this NASA satellite. Let me just watch this video. Alright. So they're making it seem like this light. These are satellites then, right? Is that a logical assumption? These tiny things. So this is 20,000 miles out. Maybe they're even trying. Maybe they're even thinking of deflecting it off with some satellites as a defense measure. That's interesting. It's like, oh. My focus, not a scientist, my focus would be of surviving this thing if it does hit. So teach your kids out there some, put them in the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, teaching them some nature stuff, you know what I mean? You never know, man. You never know. I'm not trying to spread panic, but it's really interesting stuff. I'm not gonna, let me see. I'm trying to remember things, some things of note before I end the video here. This is explaining a scenario where if a tsunami wave might be generated. It might generate a wave that'll go on for 620 miles, depending on where you are. North America. Well, you know what? I'm gonna actually keep an eye on this scenario because it might change again. You never know. You never know. Like, some people are still keeping a lookout on stuff that has been disregarded because you never know, man. Gotta show some people some love, man. You know what I mean? I wonder what China has found out about it, about its composition. This thing's shape is. Oh, this is what size comparison to the. Yeah, Empire State Building, Eiffel Tower. Okay. Funny enough, I was only getting into this because of the recent Schwarzman Watchman comet that came close, and we got an awesome meteor shower at the end of May, early this month as well. And it was phenomenal. I stayed up watching it. It's not, in my part of the world, you don't usually notice showers too much because of the light pollution. But I feel like they're even still ongoing now because the trail of that Schwarzman Watchman was so long that I feel like I'm still seeing them come down from the sky. And then there's another one that's the K2 Pan-STARRS 2017 comet. They're saying that it's no big deal, but it's I feel like it's worth keeping an eye on. It's gonna be early next month, actually, or mid next month, perhaps. This also has a long tail, 500,000 miles long. We might see stuff breaking off like with Schwarzman Watchmen. K2, Pan-STARRS 2017. Right now it's in the Ophiuchus constellation. This one seems interesting to me. By the 21st of this month, it should be over Kalbar star in Ophiuchus. Not much is said on this one, but it's saying it's going to be around the 14th, mid-July. It's going to be 1.8 AU, so that's pretty far from the Earth. Keep an eye on that one. And then another one that caught my eye was TV 135. Comment on asteroid. I forgot which one it was. TV 135. This one. Back in 2013, it was over 4 million miles from the Earth. This one, it says it's around 2032, 1 in 63,000 chance. I think it was a higher chance in 2013, though. It says 1 in 3,800, 1 in 4,300 chance, 1 in 6,200 chance. That was back in 2013 in November. Now in 2032, it was removed from the risk table. Apparently it's gonna be 0.76 AU or 71 million miles away from the Earth in 2032. At the very least, it's gonna be a nice one to look at. This is also an asteroid, Apollo class. Oh, this is where I got that measurement. Here. Because this one's actually a big one. This one is this the 11-mile one? This is a big rock. It's a very big rock. And I think the 2017 Pan-STARRS is also a big one. But this one, instead of like the 1200 that the 1200 megatons that the 1200 footer will make, this one will make 3200 megatons. 60 times the energy of Russia's 15 megaton SAR bombs. So that's where I got the measurement for the 1600 mile radius thing. But those two might be cool to look at or keep track of. The 2017 Pan-STARRS Comet K2, and then 2013 TV 135. I don't know, I just have a feeling about those two. But anyway. But yeah, Apophis and Bennu seem interesting. See, Bennu is mentioning red giants and supernovas, but in the material section, carbonation of material comes from sources and origins. Apparently, Bennu is like from the origins of the Big Bang Theory type stuff. It comes from that. So this is an old asteroid. Undying stars is red. It's almost denoting, hey, this is from red giants and supernova. The sun. I mean, let's think about it. The sun is currently in what phase? The sun is a star. The sun is a star in what phase of its life? It's in the main stage life cycle of the sun. The sun is a star. Suns are stars. Really big ones. So the sun's life started 4.6 billion years ago. And they say that it's still towards the beginning of its life though. 72% hydrogen in the sun. Hydrogen is very flammable. Alright, so it's saying when the hydrogen is exhausted and the core, its inner helium ash that has built up there, will become unstable and collapse under its own weight, and that'll enter it into the red giant phase. This will look much faster. Expanding sun will grow large enough to encompass Mercury, Venus, and maybe Earth. So the red giant phase will make it grow even more, that it might even reach Earth. And then after the red giant phase comes supernovas, and then possibly the creation of a black hole. So the helium flash is the inner core. After the hydrogen around it exhausted, the helium flash, the red giant, is fused to carbon in a matter of minutes. It's funny how we get hydrogen and carbon out there in space a lot. So after the supernova and the explosion, if it doesn't go into a black hole, it's gonna create a nebula. And then it'll settle down and turn into a white dwarf. And that's pretty much the last phase of it, or is it? Yeah. So it's very interesting stuff. Alright. Well, we've gotten to about the 1 hour point. I'm gonna go ahead and just leave this as food for thought. Watch out for the other ones. And I'm gonna be keeping track. I actually bought a telescope. You know, I'm gonna be keeping track at least of the K2 Pan-STARRS 1 and the 2013 TV-135 we'll worry about later. It's not set to come here again for another while, I think. 2032. So. I'm interested to see if Apophis does miss Earth when it comes back in 2036. I'm interested to see if the trajectory changes after it passes the moon. Bennu. I don't know what. There's something about the fact that this is an old asteroid from the beginning of time that makes me wonder. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, or of my ranting. But very interesting stuff. I have noticed other videos on YouTube that are cooler than mine. I've seen some of those first, but yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Until next time, bye bye.